In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie in the morning while I'm driving. Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Yeah, since nobody decided to say anything in the chat, I just, try to figure it out if I can figure out who's in the chat. Okay, so thank you for being here. Please hit the like button since you're here. Enjoy the view from the clouds. Okay, let me start on what I want to talk about. Is some interesting things actually going on in the real world. Some very scary things that are going on in the real world as well. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. Where in the hell? Okay, here we go. Let me see. Hold on one second. I wonder why I can't find that. Maybe it was on TikTok or something. Okay. Thank you, Max Boogie. I appreciate your support. Grand Rising, Silky Black. Thank you for being here. Okay, so it's a lot of shit that's really going on, a lot of important things that are really going on. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or keeping up. Uh, there's a lot of shit uh, that is terrifying, actually. So let me start from the bottom to the top, top to the bottom. All of my information is in the link. Um, 4547 said he's just gotten started. So, whatever you think about what has been going on, or whatever you know about that has been going on, he has just gotten started, he says. And so, don't expect it to get any better, is what I can get out of the situation. Hey, Church Mouse, Grand Rising, good to see you. Please be sure you hit the like button. I see 2 likes. I see 11 people in here. If you're in here to watch, you may as well hit the like. Hey, kind to me, Grand Rising. Hey, Church Mouse, good to see you. Okay, let me get started. Here we go. I wanted to know if you guys understand the ramifications of him just getting started. So let's check this out. Title of this video is Our Democracy is Under Siege. I don't know if that matters to a lot of people. Obviously not, but here we go.
When they talk about judge problems, which might include defying judicial. So, Eddie, the president.
So the president says we have judge problems. Do we have judge problems? Do we have judge problems when they give black people sentences, or do they just get their sentences and serve their sentences? Do we have judge problems when we give any other ethnicity their sentences, or do they just have to serve their sentences, or do they get pardoned at the beating of the police at the Capitol by 4547? You have a problem with lawlessness. That's what you have a problem with, sir. Let's continue.
And says all of this, including there seemed to be quite a bit of laughter when they talk about judge problems, which might include defying judicial orders. And then he says, we've just gotten started. You haven't seen anything yet. What does that mean for the country going forward?
It means that we stand on the precipice, Chris. I mean, our democracy is, and we're not being hyperbolic here. Our democracy is under threat. More importantly, it's under siege. Donald Trump has just expressed very clearly his unitary theory of executive power, that he has a view of the imperial presidency that runs roughshod over the separation of powers. He doesn't care about 3 equal branches of government. We are presently, and there's no hyperbole here again, we are presently in a constitutional crisis. The question is, will the American people allow it? And so when he says he's going to barrel forward, that means he's going to continue to exercise executive power without constraint. And that means, to be honest, Chris, our democracy is in real peril at this point.
Let me give you an example of what has a lot of people concerned, Congressman. Last night, the president made a pretty startling announcement about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man deported to El Salvador. Let me play for you exactly what he said.
The order from the Supreme Court stands, sir.
He came into our country illegally.
You could get him back. There's a phone on this desk.
I could.
You could pick it up, and with all the power of the presidency, you could call up the president of El Salvador and say, send him back right now.
And if he were the gentleman that you say he is, I would do that.
Not only does that contradict his own team, they've claimed that he is essentially powerless, that they were waiting for the president of El Salvador to do something, but it also makes it clear he has no intention of following a Supreme Court order to facilitate the release. So now what?
Well, they're quibbling over the definition of the word facilitate. What does that mean? To listen to the Attorney General, she said.
and you're trying to have a conversation about them quibbling over what the word facilitate means. Nobody's doing it. They give this fool too much room. He said he could do it, and then he's blaming it on his lawyers. He said that his lawyers are the ones who don't want to give the man back. Get the fuck out of my face. Now, do you think I'm worried about that man? No, I'm worried about my black ass. I'm worried about my black man ass. Why am I worried about my black man's ass? Let's get into it. Let's get into the real shit that 45 and 47 is doing. You guys may not be aware of what is being pulled off by this administration. So that's why I'm here. TC, Queen Diva, Grand Rising. Oh, you're leaving so soon, TC? Okay, I'll help you. Bye-bye. Okay, let's continue. Fake ass bitches. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. Here we go, right here. Did you guys know this? My goals are to teach you something you may not know. So let's. We talked about that. We talked about that executive order that 4547 did the other day. But I want you to be clear exactly what that executive order meant and what was exactly in that executive order. That may mean something to you and how you live your life and your any black people in your life that you love. I want you to understand how that affects you and how you live your life. We're going to be real clear on what's going on in this government right now. Also, in that Gilded Age, you heard that I played for you yesterday. You heard them say that during the Gilded Age, when all these robber barons were in charge of the United States, one of the things that they concentrated on were illegal immigrants. And it's interesting to find out that the KKK were the ones who wrote up all the laws for the illegal immigrants. That's just another side note. See, our KKK is in plain sight. They're not being ambiguous about anything that they're doing. So let's understand how this executive order that was signed day before yesterday, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, is going to affect you and how may affect you and how you live your life. So let's get into this. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I hope you subscribe. Not this channel, not my channel, the Civil Rights Attorney channel. Defiant. What is the name? Defiant. There is a Civil Rights Attorney. He is the DLT network. The description is DLT. Defiant Lawyer something. I'll tell you when this is over.
Who bashed Kamala Harris and supported Donald Trump is going to pay a price because this executive order is awful. Strengthening.
He's talking about you Negroes who bashed Kamala Harris and voted for Trump. That's let me let him tell it. Let's go.
Men. It is an executive order that essentially unleashes cops on black men. It is horrible. And I told you it was coming. I told you it was coming. So now, many of the same men who bashed Kamala Harris and supported Donald Trump is going to pay a price because this executive order is awful. Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. That sounds so good, protecting innocent citizens, right? Sounds so good. Clean up the streets, protect the innocent. But that is not what this is about. What he's doing in this executive order is really not even necessary. Because violent crime has been decreasing since 1990. 1990. Look at it. And that is a steady, sharp decrease.
If you guys, hey, Bernice, hello, Bricks and Babe. Thank you for being here. If you guys are not familiar with this executive order, I went over this executive order the other day here, giving you information that may really affect you and how you live your life. This executive order is the order that he wants to have Pam Bondi and the drunk Hegseth figure out ways that the military can help do policing. That this is the executive order where he wants to put the military on the street for policing and military equipment on the street for policing. So to be clear, what this executive order, I'm pretty sure you haven't heard this anywhere else in the beef sector, even though people are changing their content, but they just changed their content to bed to say some bullshit and lie to you that they need you to go in your pocket and give them something. But what are they giving you? Think about it.
Since 1990, there was a little uptick in violent crime right around 2020, and that was when COVID started. So why all this law enforcement? And I'm going to walk you through this executive order. I want you to see this is bad. And it's coming to the black community. Trump told us that in so many words. I'm going to show you that as well. So if violent crime is coming down, then why all this law enforcement? Why all the law enforcement if violent crime is coming down from a peak around the 90s? Why these guys if violent crime is coming down? Why send those menacing police officers with their AK-47s or AR-15s or whatever they have there? Why send them into the hood when violent crime is sharply coming down? Now, you heard me say, he's sending them primarily to the hood. So how do I know? Because he said so. He said so when he visited that Detroit church while he was on the camping trail. Let's listen to what he says.
We'll bring back public safety and defend our communities for law-abiding American citizens. Look, the crime is most rampant right here and in African-American communities, and more people see me and they say, sir, we want protection. We want police to protect us. We don't want to get robbed and mugged and beat up or killed because we want to walk across the street to buy a loaf of bread. They want it so badly. The fake news.
Okay, so you hear where he says where it's happening at. All of this is happening. He wants to help you. The fake news, the fake news, the fake news. Every time you know he's lying, he's talking about the fake news. So you cannot rely on any news organization. You can only rely on what is coming out of his lying, filthy mouth. Let's continue.
News doesn't talk about it. But the black population wants law enforcement more than any other population. So I think it's an important thing to say.
So there you have it. He said two things in that.
Okay. So, and another thing, he's taking off all of those restrictions that they have on police, on cities and counties and all of this that have shown a propensity for targeting black people. If we want the police so much, why are they under injunctions that they have to do things? What are those things? Those police injunctions. He's taking all of those off because we want policing so bad. We want policing so bad. Okay. Don't believe the media.
One, he says that most of the crime is committed in the African-American community. And he also said that he has been begged by black people to send those guys in. Right? That's what he said. So he's going to send them in, these guys, Yet, at the same time, violent crime is what? Is going down. All right, so let's take a look at his executive order. It is really serious and very dangerous for African American people. Let's go look at it. Now, here it is. Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. And might I point out, he uses the word unleashing. Unleashing. All right, so let's scroll here and read this. By the authority invested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose and policy. Safe communities rely on the backbone and heroism of tough and well-equipped police force. Tough and well-equipped. Those words are in there for a purpose. My administration is steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly, I want you to see all the hyperbolic words he used to drive his point home. To firmly. He's trying to make the point. I'm not playing around. I'm not playing around with you folks. Firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, so he wants the law enforced aggressively on some of you same folks who voted for him, who supported him, who dragged Kamala Harris, talking about her prosecutorial record. Well, now you're getting ready to really deal with some stuff. And when he talks about when local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs, basically forget any sort of police reform. Forget any kind of prosecutorial reform as far as he has anything to do with it. He says, my administration, therefore, established best practices at the state and local level. What kind of best practices do you think he's talking about? What kind of best practices do you think he's talking about? I'll show you one of them. Watch this.
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it. Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide. So important. This bill will also increase vital protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police because we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. Second, to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Stop and frisk. 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 Stop and frisk.
Stop and frisk. Stop and frisk. Stop and frisk. Man, I made a few videos talking about what was coming if he was reelected. And stop and frisk is not all that's coming. No. That's just one. That's just one of the things that he has in mind. Okay, let's go back now and finish reading this executive order. So he goes on to say, establish best practices at the state and local level for cities to unleash high-impact local police forces. You say, well, how can he do that? He's over the federal government because of the money, the federal funding that he controls. These local law enforcement departments, and there are a bunch of them, 18,000 or so across the country, they depend on federal funding. And he's going to condition that federal funding on them implementing these policies, these so-called best practices. So that's how he's going to do it. So it goes on to say, and local level for the cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state or local officials. Now, tell you exactly what that means. That means that he wants to stop all this holding police accountable for the stuff they do to African-American men. Stop all these lawsuits, all this litigation. Because in his mind, they're just doing their job. So what? They bang a few heads. So what? They violate the Constitution. So what? They kill innocent, unarmed black men. So what? They're doing their jobs. All right? I'm helping you read between the line of this. Read between the lines. My administration will work to ensure that law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime. Watch this. Not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. Man, Trump hates equity, equality. He hates it. So he says if he has anything to do with it, cops are not going to be out there thinking about whether what they're about to do is equitable, if they're treating people right or wrong. In other words, he's going to make sure that they're not thinking about civil rights and trying to treat people with respect and all that. He wants them out there, as he said, ending crime and not being concerned and bothered with illegal race and sex-based equity policies. The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious, when I hear somebody talk about tenacious law enforcement as an attorney, as a civil rights and criminal defense lawyer, I imagine them kicking in doors, banging heads. I imagine them throwing people to the sidewalk, smashing their heads into the cement. That's what I hear, because that's exactly what I see as a civil rights and criminal defense attorney who represent mostly Black people, and especially young, middle-aged, and older Black men. I told you this was coming. I told you. Tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent. Violations of law are not tolerated, and American communities are safely enjoyed by all their citizens again. Now, let me say this. Who doesn't want safe neighborhoods? We all want safe neighborhoods, right? I want my neighborhood safe. You want your neighborhood safe. So to the degree that we're getting safe neighborhoods, that's great. But what is it that I've shown you already several times? Violent crime is going down. Violent crime is going down sharply. So yeah, we want safer neighborhoods, and we're getting safer neighborhoods without kicking in doors without a warrant or without banging folks' heads into the cement and shooting innocent, unarmed men. We're already seeing a drastic decrease in violent crime. Section 2, he goes on to say, the Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism.
Okay, so we're not going to act like we haven't heard that he was going to remove. He was going to remove he was going to grant all officers qualified immunity, so you can't personally sue the officer. This is what this is. You're gonna sue me for killing your loved one. I'm gonna be in financial danger for my actions of killing your loved one. So this is the qualified immunity of it all that he wants to protect cops from. Let's be clear. He was just doing his job. So if you're at work doing whatever job you do, if you work at the post office and you go postal at the post office, you should get qualified immunity because you did it at your job. Make any of this make sense? Let's continue.
Shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance. Private sector pro bono assistance. Where do you think that pro bono assistance is coming from?
The federal government.
All those law firms.
All them law firms, the good law firms,
pro bono services on his behalf.
All of those high-end, billion-dollar profit-making law firms that bent the knee to him. It ain't gonna be no motherfucking state prosecutor, a state district attorney, and all of that shit. No, it's what is not the district attorney? What do you call them when you have to see? You got to get a lawyer granted to you because you can't afford it. It ain't gonna be one of those. No, it's gonna be one of those high-end attorney who's already gave them. One of them gave him $150 million worth of pro bono. And bent the knee to him. It's going to be one of those firms.
That's where that's coming from. But also, let's go back, and I want you to look at this word, indemnification. Indemnification. You see, cops don't even need to be indemnified because they already are. When a lawsuit is brought against a cop and it ends up in some money damages, money judgment, etc., their employer pays that money. They don't need further indemnification. And besides, that is the reason why we have worked so hard over the past few years to try to get rid of qualified immunity. Because a lot of these cops know if they bang your head up against the cement, whether it's lawful or not, they know they don't have to come out their pockets. Most likely because qualified immunity will probably get the case kicked out of court. And if not, if they are found guilty or liable or whatever and end up having to pay money, again, their employer will most likely have to pay that money. So they don't need more indemnification here.
And who is their employer? Their employer is the city that you live in. So while they talk about they don't want to defund the police, they don't have a problem with defunding the police when it's paying out all of these cases that they happen to lose. So they or the police department is not paying out. We are paying out in our tax dollars. That's who's paying for it. Let's continue. Good morning, Jill. It's good to see you. Good morning, Dr. Soapy. Let me say hello to the people who came in. Grand Rising. Bricks and Babe, I'm going to talk about that. I have that on the agenda to talk about Bernice, Nitra. Thank you guys for being here. Nita. I'm sorry, I said Nitra. All right, let's continue.
But believe it or not, it gets worse. The Attorney General, Section 3, and other appropriate heads of executive departments and agencies shall take all appropriate action to maximize the use of federal resources to provide new best practices to state and local law enforcement to aggressively police communities against all crimes. And jump down where I have it highlighted there.
Aggressively. Okay, let's see if the military has anything to do with this. Let's continue.
Within 60 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General shall review all ongoing federal consent decrees, out-of-court agreements, and post-judgment orders to which a state or local law enforcement agency is a party. And watch this.
The consent decrees, that's what I was trying to think of. The consent decrees where a police, a state or a state or a county in the state, their police force have been proven to be, I think Breonna Taylor's, where is she from? She's from Louisville, Kentucky. They're under one of these orders. Who else? I think where Michael Brown is from, they are under one of these, consent decrees? These police forces that have shown a pattern, and thus they have had to be under one of these decrees to continue to operate. That's what are they going to do with these?
And modify, rescind, or move to conclude such measures that unduly impede the performance of law enforcement functions.
They unduly impede law enforcement. We're going to modify or get rid of them because they tie law enforcement's hands. This is your president.
Folks, they're going to get rid of consent decrees, which are agreements between the Justice Department and local police departments that they will not bang black people's heads against the cement and violate their civil rights. Trump is directing his Attorney General, Pam Bundy, to rescind those things, to modify those things. What is this going to do? This is going to unleash more crazy, violent policing in the black community. We have worked so hard to try to bring reforms. All the reform.
But he doesn't see us working hard to bring that type of reform. He doesn't see us out here marching and going to court and doing all it takes to get to this point where we are getting some action. No, he says that we want him to bring more policing to the street. When did you ever hear that? I think you heard that in the 80s when they was trying to say that crack cocaine was causing all our problems, and they convinced some of the people. And let's keep it a buck. Who gives a fuck about the police being on the street? Because they the biggest criminals on the motherfucking street. Let's keep it a buck. All these police officers you got on the street, and are y'all making them do their motherfucking job? How a police officer gonna pull you over and talk about this is a high crime area? We saw you in this area, and tell you the reason they pulling you over is because it's a high crime area. Well, if it's a high crime area, it's your fault. Because if you know that this is where crime happens, what the fuck you pulling me over for with the only excuse that this is a high crime area? A lot of people have to live in high crime areas because you guys don't do shit to get rid of the real crime, because you pulling me over because you see me driving minding my own motherfucking business. Let's continue. I gotta live in this shit. How many murders in Chicago? They want to tell you about all the murders that are in Chicago, but how many of them have been solved by this police force? Many of them making over $100,000 a year. But how are we holding them up to doing their actual jobs? No, we just have to have a presence. We just have to do whatever it is. We don't have to solve crimes. No. If you're gonna make us solve crimes, we just gonna grab motherfuckers off the street and have them languishing in jail 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they ain't even did the crime. You know, Chicago is one of the notorious places that does that. How many people languish in jail, and you see these old men coming out of jail, ain't never did the crime, ain't never had nothing. Anyway, I can go on forever.
Forms that were done as a result of the George Floyd lynching, he is trying to erase all of that. And you remember he thanked black people for putting him in office again? He thanked them the first time, now he's thanking them a second time. And yet, turning around and doing this. Now, have you heard anything about this executive order? You haven't heard of?
Yeah, they heard it if they were watching my show. I don't know wherever else they didn't hear, but if they've been watching my show, they heard about this executive order.
Thing about it, most of you didn't know it existed.
Yeah, and think about your for-profit media. Has your for-profit media delved into this? Let me make sure have your for-profit media delved into this executive order for you? No, they've ignored it. Hey, E-Bike, Grand Rising. Okay, so let me let him finish up. If you guys are not subscribed to this page, I really suggest you subscribe to this man. He is a civil rights attorney.
You certainly didn't hear from the pro-black imposters. They're definitely not going to talk about this. They don't want you to know this. And if you knew this, they would play it down. Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, you're not going to hear this from all these Negroes who are over here in the beef sector talking about they are for Trump. Where you ain't going to hear this from Sean Bradley. You ain't going to hear this from that ignorant ZX. You're not going to hear this from that stupid ass MU. You're not going to hear this from any of these bitches. From this heat to all of these other dumb bitches. You're not going to hear about any of this from them dumb motherfuckers. Here's the link to this video. It is also in my description box. Let me let it finish.
Okay, this is nothing. Oh, this is a really big deal. This is where the rubber hits the road. But it gets worse. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in cooperation or in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime.
Put a one in the chat if you remember me reading this in an article this week. Put a one in the chat if you have already heard me read that he had told Hegseth and Pam Bimbo that they needed to get together and see what military assets that they were going to have available to help policing. Put a one in the chat. I guess nobody was here that day. Go back through my videos this week. You will see that I've already alerted my audience about things that are going to be pertinent in their real lives.
There is something called posse comitatus, but obviously they're going to try to get around that and give them assets. Assets. That means takes. That means assault rifles, pistols, grenades. This is basically another declaration of war on the African American community. Why do I harp on the African American community? Because he did. He told us. He said that most of the crime is occurring in the African American community. And secondly, African Americans are pleading with him to bring all this in.
That's what he said.
Despite the fact that violent crime is going down sharply. See, that's the data. Okay? That's the data. We rely on the data, not the anecdotes, because we all know and we hear on the evening news that this or that African-American youth, this or that African-American man was involved in some sort of crime and somebody got killed. That happens far too often. Yes, we understand that. But that is anecdotes. The data.
Those are anecdotes. And how many times do we hear a crime happen and that you think that must be horrible? And when it's a white person, they say they must have mental illness. If they discussing it, this guy must have some type of mental illness. This guy must have some type of mental illness. How many times have you heard all of these shooters and all of this type of shit go on, and they a panel of non-doctors automatically throw in the mental illness aspect of must be going on with a white person, as if living under the stress of racism in the United States isn't enough to cause mental distress in black people are never have mental illness. Oh no, they will buck and scream. No, they're fit to stand trial. They're fit to stand. When have you ever? You rarely see anybody argue the mental stability of a black person. Y'all should be used to living under this pressure. Let's continue.
It says that is decreasing. Here's the data. That is decreasing.
Hi, I'm Andy Levian, General Counsel at the DNC. We just sued President Trump and Doge, and I hope you will.
Yet he wants to bring in the military. And not just the military, folks, but Homeland Security. Section 6, use of Homeland Security Task Force. The Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall utilize the Homeland Security Task Force, HSTFS, formed in accordance with Executive Order 14159 of January 20th, 2025, protecting the American people against invasion, to coordinate and advance the objectives of this order. So these African-American communities, high crime African-American communities, are now about to experience the wrath of the United States military, Homeland Security, and God knows what other agency. And oh, by the way, don't forget that he told the El Salvadoran government that homegrown criminals would be next.
Okay. And this is who's over Homeland Security. This dingbat. This is who took a trip down to El Salvador to take a photo op for a photo op. That's something that something that she is barred from doing in her position. But there she is. There she is with her Rolex on and her fake cop hats on and her combat boots and all this bullshit. Okay, let's continue. let's not forget, he said that they need to build about 5 more for the homegrown. Uh, and you hear when he talks about crime, where he sees the crime. You saw him pardon all of those people who did all of that shit in the fucking Capitol building, and they got pardoned for their crimes. And you saw what happened with your eyes in real time. If you didn't see it in real time, surely you saw these people are doing the shit that they were doing, beating cops and spraying cops with a bear spray and tasering cops in the necks and all of this shit. You saw this, and they got pardoned because he don't see that as a crime. You see what you heard where he thinks the crime is. Let's continue.
Don't forget that. Add that to all that you just heard about this executive order. Despite the fact that violent crime is going down, it's going down. This is not needed. I want you to notice that I have on a dark gray suit, which almost looks black, and a white shirt. And I thought it was so appropriate because it looks like funeral attire. Just put a black tie on and I could go and be a part of any funeral. And I think it's appropriate because we're getting ready to see a lot more young black men die at the hands of police. Mark my words.
Okay, I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, I think it was Brixton Bay. Hold on. Who said something about them going to be deporting black people pretty soon. They voted on that this week. They were trying to pass this huge budget. And that was one of the things that they decided to, like, hey, the Democrats were trying to put up any blocks. Hey, can you block this out of the budget? Can you block that out of the budget? No, they couldn't block anything out of the budget. And then someone finally said, hey, if you guys just vote on this, then we won't bring up any more suggestions of things to be voted on. If you guys just put in this, this is his big bill. This we're going to talk about what is in his big bill. If you guys just do this, then we won't bother you guys with anything else. Can you put that they will not be allowed to deport American citizens? That failed. The Republicans voted that down. You don't believe me? Just watch. You don't believe me? They voted that down. That they will not be able to deport American citizens. Let's check this out real quick.
Not deport U.S. citizens is batshit crazy. This should not even be a discussion. It is not even a question. U.S. citizens cannot be deported by ICE. It's the law, it's the Constitution. I will be astounded if Republicans vote no on this. The fact that Democrats and my colleague, Representative Pramila Jayapal, feel the need to even introduce an amendment that says ICE cannot deport U.S. citizens is batshit crazy. This should not even be a discussion. It is not even a question.
Oh, wait a minute. I want you to know that they did vote that down. Here we go, right here.
Hi, folks. Congresswoman Lucy McBath from Georgia 6th Congressional District here. I just came out of Judiciary. I sit on the Judiciary Committee, and I think you need to know actually what's happening. And I always promised that I would let you know, be resource information for you. But what I want you to know is just what happened. The Republicans just voted to detain and deport United States citizens. Yes, you heard me right. United States citizens. So be aware, be vigilant. understand that we're fighting as hard as we possibly can for you, to protect you, your civil freedoms and your civil liberties. There's so much that's happening and happening so rapidly and so quickly. But we need you to know and understand that your voice matters. Please speak out. Hi, folks. Congresswoman Lucy McBath from Georgia 6th Congressional District here. I just came out.
Let me drop that in the link in the chat. I was looking for Jasmine Crockett did one as well. That's one of the places I heard it first. Hey, Silky Black. To El Salvador prisons where he already told the president, the dictator president from El Salvador when he came and sat his ass up in the White House that, hey, we need to be you need to build about 5 more for the homegrown. We're not going to act like we didn't hear any of this. And so for people to be like, oh, you can't take that serious. Yeah, you take that very seriously. Okay, so there's the link. Did I put that link in? There's the link to this. I'll add it to my community wall as well. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Cheryl Burnett. Thank you for being here. Okay, I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, let's look at a couple of more things. Redlining. Do you guys remember that thing called redlining? I'm wondering if you guys remember what redlining. So, let's go to 4547's cabinet meeting. And I don't know if you guys watch what your government is doing, but it would behoove of you to watch it. And it would behoove of you to go back and see what exactly are they talking about that are good things and gains that they have made in this administration. Let's watch a little bit of this cabinet meeting. Why don't we? Y'all want to watch? Let's watch. I think I want to be right here. It's a whole lot of the ass licking section.
Watch what nuts do to our.
And the thing about this cabinet meeting, look at all of the product placement of all of these fucking hats that this motherfucker is selling. Profiting something he's not supposed to do, profiting off of the office of president. Okay, so look at all of these hats and caps and bullshit all over the desk. Gulf of America and all of this bullshit in front of every cabinet member selling shit. Let's see.
USDA, fastest in history. That money went out to those farmers that couldn't make plant their crops. One of the largest, if not the largest, took over the ranching operation.
Trade deals, tax deals. So the next 100 days we'll be harvesting. You've created negotiating leverage and leadership.
Today, as we celebrate the 100th day, I think that
our border, we have about 9 million people living in subsidized housing first, and also from there.
So this is the black dude that they have over hood, and his big thing is that no people other than United States citizens will be able to live in government finance housing. Okay, I don't see a problem with that. I really don't.
Our border, we have about 9 million people living in subsidized housing in our country. 59% of illegal alien families use some sort of welfare program, costing us $42 billion a year. And so we have prioritized American and American people only to live in HUD-funded housing. And also to make housing affordable, we also signed a partnership with Secretary Burgum at DOI to use underutilized federal lands, as you campaigned on and promised, to identify those lands to build affordable housing in our country, so that people can realize the American dream.
Look at him. He's so uninterested. He's like falling asleep. You talking about me spending money for the poor. Look, he's about to fall asleep. So uninterested.
We also restore biological truth as you did in sports. We have to
What does biological proof have to do with anything regarding HUD? Are you guys listening to this shit?
equal access rule at HUD, which we took that rule down to ensure that at women shelters, that those that enter those shelters would be of the same sex, and that we would protect the ladies of our country.
I didn't even know that HUD was over shelters. Did you guys know HUD was over shelters? I had no idea. I could be the only one who didn't know this, but let's continue.
We have been obviously very focused on the cost of groceries, specifically eggs. And so I'm really proud of that. When he was 17 years old, those beautiful children.
Good policies, good tax policies.
Bring superpower to one in which we depend on the People's Republic of China to make the things that we need. We went from the proudest military in the world to one in which we
a bomber who is now being prosecuted by our great attorney general and
have
deals done. Those are some weeks out, but we're working very quickly on this. Thanks to you.
Thank you, James. You can have a lot of fun for the next few weeks.
This is the one. This next guy is who I want you guys to hear.
Michael, you have anything? Mr. President, in the last 4 years, the world experienced a total lack of zero leadership under Biden, and then we've had 100 days of your leadership with respect, with strength, starting with they'll be all hell to pay if you don't let our people go. Dozens.
And what's curious about this cabinet meeting, every person who spoke had Biden on their lips. Because of Biden, we came into this and it was so horrible because of the Biden didn't do this. Bullshit. All bullshit. Let's continue.
Over 40 Americans have come home under your leadership. Far more terrorists are no longer threatening the homeland under your leadership, pulling all of these agencies together, including the evil individual responsible for the Abbey Gate bombing, and to sit with the 13 Gold Star families, and you showing that follow-up and that justice has been incredible. But pulling this great team together, Mr. President, everything from revitalizing shipyards to cyber to space, that takes this entire team working together. It's an honor to serve you in this administration, and I think the world is far better, far safer for it.
Thank you very much. The Abbey Gate is really important. This was a horrible thing that destroyed the image, frankly, of the Biden administration. What happened there was a disgrace. It should have never happened. And Pam is working very much on prosecuting that person. We have the person, and he'll do well. I have no doubt about it. Thank you very much, Michael. So the CIA, I don't know, Ratcliffe, I don't know if he's going to say anything. He's probably the one person here that's not allowed to talk about the great job he's done, but go ahead anyway.
Mr. President, as you know, at your direction, the CIA has...
I apologize. That wasn't the person I wanted you to hear. And the CIA guy is not the one I want you to hear. I want you to hear somebody in particular.
Up rescissions bills to Congress for things that Elon has found. But the regulatory aspect is something we don't talk about enough, reflected in the reconciliation, working on our...
Job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Russell?
We're obviously involved in a number of budget bills.
Russell. Who's Russell? What, Russell? Are we supposed to know who Russell is? Do you guys know who Russell is? If you've been sitting over here, you know who Russell is. Russell is Russell Vogt. He's over the Office of Management and Budget. And he just says, Russell. Okay, let's hear what Russell Vogt has to say. And you may also remember, Russell Vogt is... the co-author of Project 2025. Yes, he's in the cabinet. Let's hear what Russell has to talk about.
Bills that are moving, trying to make sure all of your priorities are reflected in the reconciliation, working.
No, those are your priorities. Those are the priorities of Project 2025. He had no priorities. He campaigned on absolutely nothing. But we're trying to make sure that all of your priorities are being taken care of. They're trying to make sure that all the Project 2025 ideas are being taken care of. Let's be real clear on what's going on here. Let me shut up and get to the point.
About no Americans that are being held in other places unfairly and unjustly. And finally, Mr. President, the CIA is being restructured at your.
We're starting over with Russell. So they're restructuring the CIA, which means they're going to be going through the Epstein files like the FBI was doing bullshit work while real countries are having their real agents plot on the United States. We are not safe under this fold. Let's continue.
Direction to focus on our core mission and to eliminate the well-documented politicization that has taken place in the intelligence community from bad actors in the past, to focus on our core mission and to make America safe again. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. President.
Good job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Russell?
We're obviously involved in a number of budget bills that are moving, trying to make sure all of your priorities are reflected in the reconciliation, working on our upcoming budget. Wonderful job by the entire cabinet on that front. Details soon on that.
The reconciliation. Be clear that is the tax cut. Be clear what the reconciliation is. His big bill. That he's talking about how hard that they are working on these tax cuts for the rich.
That front, sending up precision bills to Congress for things that Elon has found. But the regulatory aspect is something we don't talk about enough. And right now, you've given us a goal of 10 for 1. We are working right now with all of the agencies to rack up how big of a deregulatory agenda that we can have. When you came into office, you basically stopped $200 billion in cost.
How big of a deregulatory bill we can have? How much we can deregulate corporations to pollute our air, streams, and waters? How big of a deregulation can we have to let monopolies gobble up all different industries, and people are subjected to having to pay a price, ever increasing price, because they have no other options. They have no other person. I won't use you. I will go there because you're the only person in that monopoly that is offering goods or services. Let's be clear.
To American families just by stopping the Biden regulatory agenda. That's about $2,000 per family.
When I started drinking warm water.
Hold on, let me get past this. So he's saving about $2,000. He's saving about $2,000 per family. So does that include the money that all of these tariffs are going to cost families? Do you think Russell Vogt is giving a fuck about saving you guys anything? I don't believe it. Let's continue.
The well-documented politicization that has taken place in the intelligence community from bad actors.
God, I went back
Consumer
too far.
Financial Protection Bureau, and we found this.
Hold on.
We think
here we are.
When we're going to hit these 10 for 1 goals, that we could be in the neighborhood of about $900 billion in savings to American families. That would be substantially bigger than that $2,000 number. And the point that I would make, in addition to just savings cheaper to the American people, there's an aspect of wisdom when you're enforcing these rules that comes into play. And I'm your regulator for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And
no, did you hear what he just said? I'm the regulator for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about this bureau. Elon Musk went in and shut the bureau down, and he said that it was in the wood chipper. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau had to be brought back. A court deemed that it had to be brought back. You know what the consumer people who consume, people buy financial, your money protection, protecting your money bureau was over. It was over getting your money back when big corporations fucked over you and stole from you. This is what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was to do. And they found no good use for it. And now all of a sudden, who's over it now that it has to be bought back via the court? Russell Vogt, the co-author of Project 2025, is over it. Financial Protection Bureau is the one who mandated that banks could not be charging people $35 and over for overdraft fees and all of these types of things. They were here to protect you. They had garnered back over, I think it was $200 billion and put back in the consumers' pockets from them being basically robbed from corporations. Some people receive checks they didn't even know because they have been working on a issue with one person and they found out that the whole system was robbing a whole lot of people, and people just started receiving checks from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau based upon their investing. Okay, now we got the now we have the co-author of Project 2025 has been put over it. Now let's see what he's talking about.
And we found this this small mortgage lender in Chicago. His name is Barry Sterner. He had a firm called Townstone, and CFPB had gone after him because he complained about crime in Chicago. Literally the same thing that the Democrat mayor had talked about.
But the CFPB had gone after him, but you're over the CFPB now. Now you're saying that they went after this guy, but the same people that you're over. So what you're trying to say is the real CFPB went after him, and now since you're the fake Trump man that they put in who doesn't want it to exist in the first place, now you're talking badly about the original CFPB. Okay, so you said they went after him because he talked about crime, the same thing that the mayor talked about. Is that why they went after him? Let's.
And they came after him for 7 years on a redlining disparate impact claim.
On a what? A redlining disparaging impact. I thought you said they came after him because he talked about crime. Okay, let's continue.
And ruined his life. We overturned.
See, they ruined his life. He was a small mortgage lender. But they ruined his life. Or did he ruin his own life by redlining people? I don't know. We're going to go look at this.
That we apologized on your behalf to that individual, and we basically, without having to go through notice and comment, we ended the policy that set that in motion. And so that's happening across these agencies with how.
Okay, so they ended the policy that set that in motion. They ended the policy that would identify redlining through the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And they apologized to this man on behalf of 4547. That's what Russell Vogt Project 2025 is saying. But what are the documents saying? Let's look at the fucking documents behind all of this. Okay. Here we go. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, let me increase this. Chicago. I sound like the lady from the Golden Girls. Chicago, November 2024. Today, Townstone Financial agreed to settle a lawsuit brought against it by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The lawsuit centered on comments made on Town's radio show about crime and home buying in Chicago. The CFPB claimed that comments would discourage a reasonable person from seeking credit in violation of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. So remember, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, Russell Vogt just told you they got rid of that entirely, the thing that spurred this lawsuit. Okay. Is it, and it's implementing regulations. As part of the settlement, Barry Stuntner, Townstone's president CEO, was dismissed from the case, and Townstone neither admits or denies liability for the action alleged in the complaint. So they reached a settlement. And this is even before the election. All of this has been settled before the election. This case should never have been bought. Unfortunately, the federal government possesses vast resources and the power to destroy lives and livelihoods, so settling is often the best approach for anyone facing a lawsuit of this kind, says Stephen Simpson, director of separation of power litigation at Pacific Legal Foundation, which represented Townstone free of charge in this lawsuit. I thought his life was destroyed. He had free legal representation as well. Who told him you better sue or you gonna have hell to pay? And we can always say it's best to settle these cases. We've been wrong, but as long as they let us off without saying that we did anything wrong, we'll pay $104,000 is what they agreed to pay. Okay, let me see. Okay, my family and I are relieved to finally put this nightmare behind us, said Barry Suntner, president and CEO of Town Home Financial. The last 6 years have taken a toll on all of us. Townstone's case has ended, but CFPB doubtless will continue to exceed its authority. Where it does, LPF will continue to fight back and put an end to federal agency overreach. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. So let's look at it. Let's look at it differently. Why don't we? Okay, here we go. This ain't coming from me. This is coming from the paperwork, and we're going in order of how all of this stuff was reported. Let me see. Let me enlarge this. See, you just can't believe what they telling you. That was real simple, the reasons for this. In a surprising turn of events, the CFPB and Townstone Financial have jointly moved to vacate the stipulated final judgment. Now, that other thing that I just read you, that was them agreeing to a final judgment. Okay. Wait a minute. An order previously entered in the CFPB's enforcement action against the mortgage lender alleging redlining practices. This motion filed on March 26 of 2025. Now, they had made the agreement before the election last November, but now they decided to pull out of this. Why? In March 26, 2025, the 4547 administration was totally settled in and had totally went through the CFPB, and they decided that you are not going to penalize somebody who's doing redlining. This is my point. This was settled in November, and they dug it out of the trash because they find that it is okay for this mortgage lender to redline in African American communities. That's okay. Let me see. This motion filed on March 26 of 2025 comes after significant actions by the CFPB regarding the Bureau's own handling of the case. Now, so what they're saying is it came this March about their own handling of the case. So this came in March under 47's administration, that they are fighting their own agency. No, they're not fighting their own agency. They're fighting the real agency. See, because this is after Russell Vogt has been seated in. Russell Vogt, who is in my opinion, an overt racist. This is after they had to bring back the CFPB after trying to destroy it, and then they put it in Russell Vogt hands, somebody who has no good intentions with it. And this is one of his first no good intentions with it, to bring back to life something that has been settled that has to do with redlining in Black communities. Let's be clear. This is what it is. Okay. I just want to make sure y'all understand. Okay. Where am I? The motion filed on March 26 comes after significant allegations by the CFPB regarding the Bureau's handling of the case, which began in 2020 under the first Trump administration and continued under the Biden administration. And it was settled under the Biden administration. The initial settlement, as discussed here, November 2024, the CFPB reached a settlement with Townstone in which was the first redlining case brought against a non-bank mortgage lender and broker. The settlement allowed a pivotal decision by the Seventh Circuit Appeals, which held that the provision in Regulation B that prohibits creditors from discouraging and prospective applicants was permissible under the language of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. The CFPB has accused Townsend of discouraging prospective African American applicants from applying for mortgages in the Chicago metropolitan area through the derogatory statements made in a podcast and radio show. The district court initially dismissed the case, agreeing with Townsend that the ECOA only prohibits discrimination against applicants. However, the Seventh Circuit reversed this decision, holding that the ECOA authorized liability for the discouragement of prospective applicants. So he was discouraging. They felt that the shit that he was saying discouraged people from even investing in African American community, because he was saying, oh, that's a horrible place. Oh, it's a lot of Black people and the crime is this. You know that how they if it's Black people, it must be crime and all of this. It's a horrible place. Okay, so the settlement required Townsend to pay a $105,000 penalty to the CFPB's Victims Relief Fund and prohibited the mortgage lender from engaging in any action that violate the ECOA. Rona Copa, who was serving as CFPB director at the time of the resolution and still would be the director had not Doge come in there and called themselves closing it down. Now we got Russell Vogt over it and digging in the trash can to revive this case that involved redlining in African American communities. Okay, let's be clear. So if it's an African American community and people are living there and they are discouraging other people to invest in this community, what does it mean about this community and the owners who are renting or out to these people? What is it saying that the pride of ownership, maybe people were interested in buying these places, but no, we're not going to take these areas out of the hands of the slumlords who own them. We're going to let the blight continue until we decide that we're going to get some. Maybe there's, how always behind the scenes, the gentrification comes along before the gentrification starts. in the streets. So, no, we're not going to put this. We don't want you to be interested in even buying here. We're going to leave it the status quo. And when we get ready to change it, we're going to have the people in ownership of these properties that we want to have in ownership of these properties. We're not going to have to try to get this property back from your black ass. We're not going to try to have your black ass living in this neighborhood that we are about to regentrify. Get it? That's how I get it. I don't know if y'all get it that way, but let's continue. Okay. It held the settlement as a significant victory, emphasizing that consumers are protected from illegal redlining even before they submit a mortgage application. Motion to vacate. The CFPB and Townsend jointly filed a Rule 60B6 motion to vacate the stipulated final judgment and order on March 26th. Memorandum in support of the motion cites. Now, this is the new CFPB. This is not the old CFPB who said that, hey, this is what you. Now, the new CFP comes in and they jointly file a motion to vacate the stipulated financial judgment and order on March 26th. The memorandum in support of the motion cite significant problems with the Bureau's treatment of the case, including unmerited investigation and litigation and the infringement of the defendant's First Amendment rights. So he has First Amendment rights, even though they violate the law that he is to follow in being a mortgage lender. Fuck it. He has his First Amendment right. He can say what he wants to say. And he can still be in the business that he's in. He doesn't have to follow the rules. The motion is supported by a detailed declaration from Dan Bishop, Senior Advisor to the Bureau, Acting Director Russell Vogt. Bishop declaration claims that the CFPB investigation and litigation against Townsend was flawed from the onset. Key points from the declaration include the lack of substantial predicate for the enforcement action and motivation based on opposition to the publicly expressed political views of Townsend's owner, Barry Stuntner. Now, they bring in politics in it. They were saying that because of his political views, the CFPB brought a case on him. This is some bullshit. This is the CFPB talking about the CFPB. But it really isn't. It's Russell Vogt. It's Project 25. It's people who have put together this whole, put the military on the street. This is what they're doing. And so my point is redlining is going to be okay under this administration. Okay, so now I have that link in here. Let me show you one more link about this story. I think I have two more links about this story. Hold on. I think I have two more links about this story I want to share with you. Okay, so here is the paper that the claim that was filed under the CFPB in court to get out of that legal agreement where the lender would have to pay $105,000. I damn Bishop declares as follows under penalty of perjury. On January 20th, 2025, that's Inauguration Day, the newly inaugurated President of the United States ordered the agency heads to identify and take appropriate actions to correct past misconduct by the federal government related to censorship constitutionally protected speech and to review the activities of agency exercising civil and criminal enforcement authority. When did that happen? Maybe that was one of those first executive orders. But on January 20th, Russell Vogt wasn't over the CFPB. So maybe the CFPB had already did this. So you're talking about what happened on January 20th, and y'all dug this case out of the trash on March something, March 26th or something. Okay, let's continue. To review the activities of agency exercising civil and criminal enforcement authority and identify any instances reflecting improper targeting of enforcement actions oriented more toward inflicting political pain towards pursuing actual justice or legitimate government objectives. It seems like they had proven their case, but you guys are rehashing a case that had already been. I am employed by Senior Advisor of the Office of Management and Budget, Russell Vogt, and detailed part-time to part-time to the plaintiff, CFPB, in both capacities. I serve under the direct supervision of Russell T. Vogt, who is the Senate confirmed director of OMB, acting director of the CFPB. Now that is a conflict right there. Director Vogt directed me to undertake a general review of the supervisory and enforcement activities of CFPB to examine the agency's handling of this matter. To perform this task, I arranged for personal access to the agency's electronic records, which are maintained in SharePoint and can be browsed and searched through that interface and custom software tools. I'm pretty sure if they couldn't, Doge gave you access because remember, Elon Musk said it was in the wood chipper. To preserve agency enforcement prerogatives and privileges, to the great extent possible, consistent with fundamental fairness, I set forth below details that I have observed in the agency's records, but am forbearing to place the reference documents. Hold on. Oh, come here. Hold on. Come. Hold on. I apologize. Okay. These documents also make it clear that the agency lawyers misled their superiors in enforcement decisions and were affected by animus toward the publicly expressed viewpoints of Townstone's owner. The declaration cites authorities solely to illustrate how to investigate and pre-litigation decision turned on misassessments and omissions of required information about law and fact. I thought that he had a lawyer. What are you talking about? He had no lawyer? Bullshit. Okay. And the key points on the defendants express political viewpoints. The motion explains why this targeting was impermissible. Okay, so they're saying this was all a political hack job. They're trying to say that the CFPB, prior to Russell Vogt in there, was politicizing any cases that they bought, when in fact Russell Vogt is the one who's politicizing anything that goes on in the CFPB right now. So those are the things I wanted to share with you. Let me see if you guys have nothing on that. Yeah. So the man whose life was ruined was actually ruining other people's lives. Exactly. Exactly. No reason to dig up this settled case, except they wanted to allow these kind of predators to operate. That is the whole point. And this is what was happening in the cabinet meeting. They were talking about this poor man whose life had been uprooted by the CFPB as he was out here redlining and trying to prevent Black people from even applying to own property. This is what this is about. This is about property rights. This is about your ability to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Job out. I bet you if some old Jewish man wanted to come and buy up the whole block, he'd have made a way for it to be sold to him and keep it in the same conditions that it was in, and raise any rents. I bet you he'd have done that. But I digress. Okay, so did you guys know about any of that? So this is what was being bragged about. There was something else that I wanted to one last thing on that. Here is the motion to vacate the already closed case. Here we go. March 26, 2025, CFPB seeks to vacate abusive, unjust case against Townstone. A small business complained about skyrocketing crime in Chicago. CFPB made their life hell. What kind of business was it? Okay, Washington, D.C. Today, the acting director of CFPB, Russell Vogt, is seeking to vacate the settlement the CFPB extracted from Townstone after a 7-year harassment saga using the redlining screen based on a arbitrary number of mortgages. CFPB set out to destroy a small Midwest firm with about 10 employees and a radio program called Townsend Financial. After a thorough review of the CFPB, after a thorough review, the CFPB is seeking to make Townsend whole by returning the 6-figure penalty they were forced to pay. CFPB abused its power using radical equity. You remember how equity was an issue with 45, 47. Equity is always an issue. The CFPB abused its power by using radical equity arguments to tag Townsend as racist with zero evidence, and spent years pursuing and extorting him, all to further years extorting him. They didn't get anything from him to the end of the case. They didn't extort him from having him in court because he had a free lawyer. Where's the extortion? Where's any of this extortion? Okay, they spent years persecuting and extorting them, all to further the goal of mandating DEI in lending via their regulation and enforcement tactics. The more we uncover at CFPB, the more we see how this agency was weaponized against targeted Americans, as acting director Russell Vogt said. Acting director Russell Vogt, or were they targeting companies that were targeting blacks? But see, you can target blacks, and that's okay. But God forgive you target people who are targeting blacks. God forbid that there's any DEI in anything. God forbid there's any equity in anything. They have a problem with this equity. So this was a flagrant misuse of government resources to destroy a small business and did nothing wrong for the crime of protected political speech. This firm was targeted and harassed. I thought it now all of a sudden the it's about political speech. I thought it was about freedom of speech. I thought it was about the crime in the area. Now it's about political speech. So now you guys are saying that it was his political speech. It was his politics. So it is what it is. The investigation was not prompted by any actual or perceived harm, but by pure quota style statistics. I'm sorry. Okay, so you can read the rest of this. It's right here. They pulled the case. They wanted to give this man his money back. He was redlining. And as far as the CFPB and Russell Vogt, the co-author of Project 2025, they thought that was a good thing that he was doing. So this is more of the stuff that you should be prepared to live through under this administration. Redlining, okay, and not being able to get a mortgage, making it okay for mortgage dealers to discriminate against you if they don't want you to purchase in any particular area. You should normalize redlining again now. So let me, there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. Here we go. One more thing I want you guys to take a listen to. The real mission of Doge, seen in new insights and federal data privacy. Okay, so let's take a listen to some things that you may want to keep an eye out on. A couple of things that may harm us in the near future. Let's go.
For shows every night. I was talking about some of what is around the corner for Trump's second 100 days and beyond. Some new threats in what Trump is doing that the country, I think, hasn't really focused on yet, but I think this is stuff that's on its way. On Monday night, we talked about the first thing I really wanted to raise a flag on, which is this military zone Trump has created on the border where active duty U.S. troops have been given legal authorization to arrest U.S. citizens and search U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. That is not something the American military is supposed to do. Second thing we talked about last night, which is all of these immigration-related powers being turned against U.S. citizens, agents smashing up the house of a U.S. citizen and her daughters in Oklahoma City, U.S. citizens getting letters from the government telling them to leave the country, U.S. citizens being arrested and held in immigration prisons, U.S. citizen children being sent out of the country. This is something that is already happening here. This is not a slippery slope to worry about in the future. It's already happening. But here's the third thing I wanted to raise. Something that we sort of just, I think, haven't really gotten our heads around it yet. And it relates to Doge and Elon Musk and what he's done in Washington. But it's the sort of black box at the center of whatever he has been doing in Washington. We know that Doge is not about saving money because even the amount of money that they claim to have saved, it's barely more than the amount of money they are thought to have wasted with.
We're going to break that down one more time. He came in saying that he could save $2 trillion. And then as the inauguration got closer, he said, well, maybe 1 trillion. We had forecast 2 trillion. We were shooting big, but surely I'm positive we can get save $1 trillion in savings. And then when the final tally came up, he said that he had saved $160 billion. But you got to understand that $130 billion was spent on Doge. So he said that he saved them 160 billion. So the last calculation of what Doge saved the United States government at the risk of hackers getting every person in Americans' personal information up into medical information, IRS information, pharmacy information, banking information, everything, all things about America as Elon Musk is trying to create the next best AI thing by knowing everything about everybody. Half of the shit about this AI is the data that you input into it. So do you think that you're going to be a part of a free data input into his new AI shit that you are also paying for through? Well, I don't think he's still trying to raise money for it, but I'm sure he got some government money for it because he's a welfare whore. He is always, all of his shit is financed by the government. But my point is, the final tally of what Elon Musk has saved the government is 150 million. It started with a T, trillion, and then it went down to a low B, billion, and now it is in the million. $150 million is what they are saying that Elon Musk and Doge saved the United States government. Fair exchange is no robbery, I guess.
The way they have behaved in Washington. There's been a ton of embarrassing and really indefensible mistakes that Musk and the Doge team have made. But those mistakes, no matter how much publicity they get and how often they need to be reversed, it hasn't led them to stop making those mistakes. They haven't course corrected on any of that. So it seems like maybe they're not even viewing those things as mistakes.
As technology continues to evolve, so do cyber threats. Zero trust security has become
the one thing they are consistently doing, and doing as aggressively as possible, and they haven't given us an explanation for why they're doing it, is that they are aggregating data. It is a huge data grab from what appears to be every agency in the government. And that really appears to be their only consistent priority, the only thing they are consistently and aggressively doing everywhere they insert themselves. What is that about? Why are they doing that? This is from investigative journalist Julia Angwin, who has reported on data privacy and security for years. She's writing.
Okay, so they destroyed all of our government agencies in as well. There's a twofold thing with this. They set up and they collected everybody's data for free. Oh, no, they didn't do it for free. They got paid to do it as Doge employees. They got paid to do it. And to what avail? $150 million saved after the proclamation that they were going to save $2 trillion for absolutely nothing but his own personal use. That's what it was all for. And to put a sledgehammer to all our government agencies, especially the ones that had investigations on him and his businesses. Let's continue.
Writing in the New York Times today. She says, quote, Doge is assembling a sprawling domestic surveillance system for the Trump administration, the likes of which we have never seen in the United States. Over the past 100 days, Doge teams have grabbed personal data about U.S. residents from dozens of federal databases and are reportedly merging it all into a master database. This month, House Democratic lawmakers reported that a whistleblower had come forward to reveal that the master database will combine data from federal agencies, including Social Security, the IRS, and the Department of Health and Human Services. The whistleblower also alleged that Doge workers are filling backpacks with multiple laptops, each one loaded with purloined agency data. What this amounts to is a stunningly fast reversal of our long history of siloing government data to prevent its misuse. In their first 100 days, Musk and Trump have knocked down the barriers that were intended to prevent them from creating dossiers on every U.S. resident. Now they seem to be building a defining feature of many authoritarian regimes, comprehensive files on everyone, so they can punish those who protest. A longtime civil liberties lawyer tells Ms. Angwin for the Times today, quote, this is what we were always scared of. The infrastructure for turnkey totalitarianism is there for an administration willing to break the law. Joining us now is Julia Engwin. She's founder of Proof News. She's the author of Dragnet Nation, A Quest for Privacy, Security, and Freedom in a World of Relentless Surveillance. Ms. Engwin, I really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. That was a real mission. Any questions? That's laughable, Ronnie Q. It's only the cost of a Malibu mansion now. Shit. Yeah, and shit. That's the low end in Malibu. It must not be sitting on the hill or anything. That must be one of them little cheap ones that's actually sitting on the beach. So this is the things that are going on now. I would advise you to watch the rest of this Rachel Maddow clip. It's under Doge in my description box. I just wanted to give you guys some information. I'm not here to beg for water heaters and for appliances and for food and all of this type of stuff, because I think that I really think that we're in an era where I'm here to tell you that you need to stock up on things that you need for yourself and that you will be needing for yourself in the foreseeable future. You can support the channel if you've learned something new. I always, this is why I'm here to help you guys learn something new. I have hit the link or write it in the chat. I have a political question, but it's on a different topic. Hit or just write it in the chat. So I think that I gave you the story yesterday. Our shelves are. It's projected that the grocery shelves will be empty soon because of this ignoramuses tariffs that he doesn't want Jeff Bezos to tell you how much extra you're spending. You're spending more in tariff costs than you are in costs for items at the if you use Amazon or other things like that. Church Mouse. I'm waiting on Church Mouse. So I think that it would be good of you to think of how it was in the pandemic era when you couldn't even get toilet paper and people were going crazy about toilet paper. You think about the next thing that the media is going to put in your mind, and then that there's going to be a rush on. There's going to be a rush on anything, but understand that it is media driven. So understand what you need for yourself to ensure that you are okay. And you may want to think about some personal protection as well, because when a whole lot of people in America is not okay, you may not be okay either. Soda cannot be purchased with food stamps. Do you think food stamps will become WIC? WIC? No, I don't. I don't know. WIC, that is women with infant children. I don't know. Now, I know that RFK wanted to ban soda and not only soda and other type of snack products from being purchased with food stamps. Has that gone through already? Women with infant children. I don't think so, because there are a lot of seniors who are dependent on food stamps as well. But that don't mean nothing to these people. That means absolutely nothing to these people. They are talking about cutting food stamps by $83 billion, I believe, in the Department. Is it? In the Department of Agriculture is where the food stamps are, and they are talking about $83 billion cut to that, and it surely is going to come out of food stamps because they're not going to stop paying these white farmers the welfare that they get. They already complaining and what is it, in the farm book of the Farm Bureau, there are only 1% of the farmers are black farmers, and it used to be up to 13%. So they are down to 1% of they are down to 1% of the farmers. So they ain't gonna take nothing away from them white farmers in the Department of Agriculture. And you must understand, while they try to make it seem like welfare and WIC and all of this, these programs are black programs. They wouldn't be programs if they were black programs. There are more white people on these programs than there are black people. That's why they have these programs. You think that they're gonna make a whole program to feed black people, to house black people? No, they're not. They'll get bailed out. It's a list of items you can get. Is it state by state, or let me see. Let me Google this. Let me see. Okay. I have an article here. Has soda been banned from SNAP benefits? What's driving states to ban RFK Jr. is, and somebody said that it's ironic that he wants to ban people from buying junk food on SNAP while he's juicing his damn self. They said he's on. This is a rumor that he's juiced up on steroids, but he don't want you to have no soda. A growing number of states leader. It's a state-by-state thing. A growing number of state leaders wants the federal government to forbid the use of food stamps to buy sodas and candy. It's not a new idea, but the current administration has signaled its support. So it doesn't seem like it's a lot. Let me see when this is dated. This was written on May 1st. In brief, some states and federal policymakers want restrictions on food stamp purchases to make sure government funds aren't used to buy unhealthy foods. States would need a waiver from the USDA to limit the purchases and 12 states have introduced bills to set this in motion. So it is not 12 states have introduced bill to limit the purchases of soda and candy, but they haven't gone through as of yet. This activity is gaining momentum with support from the Make America Healthy Again. Make America healthy again. Don't get any vaccines. Just die from the measles. Okay. This activity is gaining momentum with support from the Make America Healthy Again movement, and it encompasses concerns about government spending. Some are concerned that the issue of unhealthy food purchases will justify cuts to the food stamp program. So that don't make any sense. Just because you're not buying unhealthy food, that means you have more food stamps to buy healthy food. So you mean to tell me you're trying to justify not being able to buy unhealthy foods with a reason why your food stamps should be cut? Healthy food is more expensive than unhealthy food. Healthy food is way more expensive than unhealthy food. Why do you think people are hooked on unhealthy food now? Because they're poor, and in many instances, that's all they can afford. And then they get hooked on it because this is all they're used to eating. Duh. So that's the answer that I can find on the church mouse. An infant will receive formula as they grow. They receive baby snacks and food. As toddlers, they receive cow milk, cereal, and other healthy items. I don't have any problem with that. I'm not. I know that there are certain things that I see these people at the grocery store being able to put on their WIC thing. I think sometimes if I'm not mistaken, don't they put juices on there? You're welcome, Church Mouse. I think they get some juices and on WIC too. Now that's full of high fructose corn syrup, so that cannot be good for. I mean, if they want to listen, there was a big push. Yeah, apple juice. I knew it was some juice. Okay. Now, thank you, Church Mouse. Now, there was a big push the first time 47 got elected. He said that he was going to eliminate peanut butter. He said he was going to eliminate food stamps, and he thought it was a good idea for people on food stamps to get a food box once a month. Food box, kind of like the arcane days where you get a box dropped off. They say in the 30s or in the Great Depression, they would drop off food boxes and you never know what was going to be in the box, and you get it once a month. And that was going to be in lieu of food stamp. I heard Sean Hannity arguing that well, why can't poor people just eat beans? We used to eat beans a lot when we grew up. Why do people have to have all this meat? They're buying steaks and shrimp, and it just amazes me that these rich people who live on steak and shrimp think that a poor person shouldn't be able to eat steak or shrimps. It just amazes me. Uh, I don't know. It is what it is, and that's what it is. Let me make sure. I thought that there was one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. I want to make sure that's all that I have. Oh, let's talk about. Let me see. Now they say that the ports are getting empty. The ports with shipments of goods coming over from China. They said that the port of Los Angeles is off 35% of goods coming in. It's 35% empty in the port of Los Angeles. So that is one of the reasons. Let me actually play this story for you guys so you guys can understand while motherfuckers are on here begging for water heaters and water softeners from you guys like it's a joke. It's about to get. Thank you for the super sticker, Church Mouse. I appreciate that. It's about to get real serious, and um, it's time for people to really pay attention. If you didn't see the first part of my show, it would behoove of you to get it from an attorney. I'm not trying to act like I'm the know-all of everything, but when I find out some things, I am trying to relay it to you. And I think that these are some important things. Here we go. That you guys should know and help you survive this time of peril. Here we go.
The Port of Los Angeles says it does expect shipping volume from China to plunge about 35% next week. The president addressing this just a short time ago.
They're sending boats, the biggest boats in the world, carrying cargo like nobody's ever seen before. These are the biggest boats in the world, biggest cargo ships in the world. And they're coming and they're turning around in the Pacific Ocean. They're doing a big U-turn and going back because they don't want the goods because 145% tariff. But at a certain point, I hope we're going to make a deal with China. We're talking to China.
And we're joined now by the official who gave that warning. Warning about the dip in containers coming into the port. Gene Soroka, the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles. Gene, thanks for being with us. Can you just explain to us why you're expecting port volume to shrink more than 35% next week? Is this all tariff related? Is it all China, or is it other countries too?
Good afternoon, Brianna. It's all tariff related, whether it be China, which now, if you buy a product from there, it's 2.5 times more expensive than it was just last month. The 10% tariffs on all other countries, including those in the Pacific Rim that we trade with, are also expensive. So we saw some big companies bring inventory in over the last 9 months to try to build up stock. Not everyone had the ability to do that and store. Those small to middle-sized companies are really in a quandary right now. So we had about a 7% uptick in business here in the month of April. That's the end of the surge to pad inventory. The month of May right now, we're projecting next week's volume to be down by 35%. Ship sailings, 17 of them have been canceled out of a scheduled 80 or so. That shows that the drop will be precipitous and fast.
And I think you handle more container ships than any other port, right? So how long is this sustainable for port workers there in LA?
We're at a crucial time right now. We're the largest container port in the Western Hemisphere, 25 years running, a leading indicator of this great U.S. economy. And what we're seeing now is that dock workers, truckers, warehouse folks will be having less job opportunities beginning next week. If you're a trucker today, hauling 4 and 5 containers, beginning next week, you'll likely be just moving 2 or 3. Dock workers who've been getting overtime, working double shifts, will likely work less than a full work week. This will hit our local and regional economy immediately.
Gene, talk to consumers who obviously rely on these products coming in about what kind of products you're talking about. How?
Yeah, let's not forget dock workers make good money. They make good money. Remember, they had that strike they were about to do, and they increased their wages like something like $32 an hour. They make good money, and let's continue.
How this might compare to some of the shipping disruptions that they became familiar with during COVID.
They didn't increase it to $32 an hour. They increased it $32 an hour above what they're already topping out as.
Wherever you're watching or listening to this broadcast right now, likely you're looking or wearing at something that was brought in from overseas. 90% of trade moves on water. 45% of our business here at the Port of Los Angeles is with China, whether it be furniture, electronics, appliances, clothing, and footwear. The American consumer will be affected with less choice here in the weeks ahead on store.
So Adidas has already said their prices are going up on all of their footwear because of this. And let's be clear, you heard Trump lie and say that he's talking to China, but we know he is absolutely not talking to China because China has already come out and said that they have had no talks with 45, 47. And this is another thing that should make you understand that China don't even give a fuck. China already has other trade agreements that they are setting up with India, Vietnam, and they are telling them that if you make a trade agreement with the United States, our trade agreement is off. So let's be clear what's really going on. So let me let you see this.
signs the Trump tariffs are already starting to take their toll in the US and China. So, which of the world's two largest economies is better prepared to deal with the trade war? CNN's Christy Lou Stout joins us now live from Hong Kong with some answers. Good to see you again, Christy. So, how much pain can the people of China handle in the event of a long tariff war with the US?
Rosemary, with the United States and China locking horns over tariffs, an economic pain war is underway. And experts say that China has the capacity to endure it. Watch this.
This will be a fast war.
The battle at Lake Changjin is one of China's biggest ever blockbusters. Commissioned by the Chinese government, it glorifies the Chinese soldiers who fought American troops in the Korean War. Fast forward to today, and China and the U.S. are locking horns in another epic battle.
China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them.
Be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end.
Trump started this war with China, aiming in part to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Chinese netizens mock the idea with AI-generated videos showing a post-tariffs world of dingy American factories with downcast workers. Decades of trade have brought bumper profits to both countries, and as U.S.-China trade withers, fortunes are turning. In the U.S., the price of goods could shoot up, fueling inflation and putting the U.S. at real risk of recession. And in China, a prolonged trade war could put countless factories out of business. The question is, how much pain can the people of China handle in the event of a long trade war with the U.S.?
I think the pain threshold is probably higher for Chinese society. The Chinese government, being an authoritarian government, may have its own advantage because it can more easily reallocate resources.
The Chinese have endured famine, the Cultural Revolution, and more recently, 3 years of strict COVID-19 lockdowns before protesters bravely took to the streets. And in this trade war, pain is already being felt. On social media, Chinese factory owners post images of their products piling up in warehouses, while workers show how machines and production lines have shut down. Despite a dire economic forecast, many patriotic entrepreneurs are standing firm.
Even if the tariffs increase to 500%, I'm not afraid. Please rest assured, we can hold on.
Stop all the orders. Stop all the export orders. I will not chicken out.
We can give up the U.S. market. I can let this batch of orders rot in the warehouse. We must give up illusions and prepare for struggle. For China.
In the battle at Lake Changjin, U.S. soldiers are seen gorging on Thanksgiving turkey, while Chinese troops chew frozen potatoes in the trenches. Yet, they still beat the Americans later. Trump's trade war pits the U.S. and China in a new challenge of resilience that's not about business or money. It's about honor and national pride. Look, China is putting on a brave face, but China is indeed starting to feel the pain from Donald Trump's tariff war. In fact, new economic data out this week on Wednesday said that for the month of April, factory activity in China has fallen faster than expected. On top of that, international banks have slashed growth forecasts for the year for China. China has also been dealing with a myriad of economic challenges at home, including high youth unemployment, rising local government debt, a prolonged property crisis, etc. But China, again, putting a brave face forward. We're seeing that with the new propaganda push out this week with social media videos saying that China, quote, won't kneel to U.S. tariffs. So China is digging in for a protracted and painful battle ahead. Rosemary.
Right. Our thanks to Christy Lou Stout bringing us that incredible report there. Appreciate it.
Earlier,
Okay, that's what I have on that. I think that there was one more thing that I wanted to share. This fraud stuff. Let's talk about fraud. Let's talk about this waste, fraud, and abuse. Okay. I think it's right here where I want to start. Hold on one second. I'm gonna start right here. If you guys have not visited Luke Beasley's channel, go check him out. He's a good young content creator. Let's check out this little clip of 4547's interview.
That he's willing to stop the fighting. Don't
You
forget,
think he wants
this
peace?
is
You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does. Yes, I think he
Still.
does. I think
Even
because
with the
of
raining missiles
I
on.
think he really his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you.
He thinks because of him, he's not going to do that, as he's still raining down missiles and refusing to stop. And when Zelensky has refused to a ceasefire, but he's such an idiot.
You. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview. And then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know, I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
Let me
No,
just
I'm not,
do I trust? I don't trust a lot of people, but I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me, and I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But
he doesn't respect you. Your own wife doesn't respect you. Your own wife didn't even move in the White House with you. She is making no bones about it. She has zero respect for you or your reputation or your image. Idiot.
his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine.
What? His dream was to. So, can you imagine? Can you even fathom, I should say, the shifting of goalposts there? It went from we're going to get the entire invasion to stop and for a fair deal to be reached to Putin was going to take over all of Ukraine. Now we're not going to get a fair peace deal to stop the invasion and the occupations of the land that they currently are, invading. But you should credit me because they would have taken over all of Ukraine. And now because Putin respects me, they're not going to. So,
okay. Let me, there's a little bit more of this interview. I think it's right here.
Some things where when I heard about him, I put him back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back.
Correctly. He's scared. He's a scared little boy. Then this.
There are some things where when I heard about him, I put him back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back. But overall, we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now it's $150 billion and heading
we don't know
south.
what it's going to be because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found out.
Okay, so now he is saying with the affirmative that they have found this waste, fraud, and abuse. When you find fraud, you prosecute fraud. You are sending Pam Bimbo out to prosecute people who are vandalizing Tesla dealerships. So surely, if you found all of this fraud in the government and in government agencies, you would be sicking your blonde bulldog on these people who have committed this fraud. So let's see what happens when we're asked about this fraud in particular.
A lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any of
Well,
this.
you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the...
Because you never said it. Because when there have been people who are allegedly caught tampering with Tesla property, that's the first thing you guys are out here making tweets and all of this about it because you never said it. Which means, how did you know that? How did you know that? Okay, now he's gonna ask him. Well, has there been? Since you want to say I don't know, everybody know how you would know that because you always running your mouth as you did something grand. So surely, if you found some fraud, you be yelling it from the highest rooftop. Let's see about this fraud shit.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the? Are there criminal
How would you
referrals?
know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally are. There's been no investigation from the
How
Justice
do you know
Department.
that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not
Now
asking
I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There has
I'm
been.
asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the
Of course
working
there have been. Take a look at some of these things.
Sir.
Take a look at some of these things. Sure they have. Sure they would take a look at what of these things. Some of these things. Take a look at some. Where can I view some of these things? He told him, oh, sure they have. Take a look at some of these things. What things and where can I view these things? Nowhere.
Do you know what a criminal referral is? Do you even know what he's asking you? Because we most likely would find out, because it would be disclosed, if there were a criminal referral related to fraud that you found in the government, the DOJ was going to be prosecuting. And Trump starts just acting like Terry said a false statement. Well, maybe it's correct that you haven't yet disclosed there was a criminal referral, but he's only going to speak on what is publicly available information, which is that you keep using this word fraud, which would be something illegal, when in reality, you're just talking about stuff that you didn't like. Like you didn't like USAID. You didn't like food assistance to people in other countries. You didn't like medicine to people in other countries to prevent epidemics that could eventually hurt Americans. You didn't like those things. That's not fraud. You just didn't like it.
This used to be a Boeing manufacturer once upon a time.
She signed on with Seattle-based Earth.
We could then
referrals for fraud from the working
government. Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course they have.
I want to bring up
on condoms, a bunch of condoms, or not. So again, it's interesting.
And I think he's going to be I said I probably wouldn't be.
That attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the
just clicking the subscribe button, please. For all that you do. No one says that. But then the join button is how you become a member, and it supports the work even more. Here's Trump's response to the question about Hexet.
Signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young, he's smart, highly educated.
He's a talented guy. He's young. He's smart. He's highly educated, but he's a whole unqualified person for the job that you put him in. So who is the bigger fool? The fool who took the job that he knew he was not qualified to take, or your stupid ass who put him in the job that you know that he's not qualified to take?
And I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in.
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's pretty important position.
I have no. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
Let's go.
Oh, Terry. I wasn't familiar with Mr. Terry Morin. Hello, Terry. Laying down the law, Terry Bear. Look at this. I don't even know how to word this in a way that I haven't already many times. He just says things. So if you compare what he's saying, you take what he's saying and then imagine you sort of put it on a whiteboard. What is he saying and what is true? It's just weird. It's this weird phenomenon where there's this huge gap between what he's saying and what is true. A lie. I could have said it quicker with that. A lie. It's called a lie.
And Canadians, many of them, are really angry, furious about your talk about we're going to take over Canada. It's going to become the 51st state. And it kind of is of a piece. A lot of travel is down into the United States from around the world. It feels like there's been reputational damage.
The country's doing great. Well, prices are down. Not the tourism. Gasoline's down. Energy's down.
False.
Tourism is going to be way up. Where do you see the numbers? The tourism is way up.
I know.
Now, Canada, tourism's doing very well. We're doing very well. Where do you see the real numbers come out in 6 months from now? Where do you see the numbers?
The real numbers are already out. People are not booking any vacations or travel, especially from Canada to the United States. Wait until 6 months from now. But why you think what's going to happen 6 months from now? You're going to think that they're going to forget to ask you the question again about the how travel has been down in the United States? You think that you're not going to have to broach this question again? You think, let me make sure my mic is on. It is. You think that it's going to be like it was last your last election cycle, last time in office, where you kept on saying you were going to have a plan in 2 weeks for a health plan that you wanted to vote on in 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks never came in your whole 4 year of being in the administration. You never had a plan for health care. So you think that in 6 months he's everybody's gonna forget this lie? That's what. Wait until the real numbers are gonna come down. Now the real numbers came in and said that there has been a deficit in the budget, in the GDP, gross domestic product, and he's saying that now we're in April. Everybody know that the first quarter is in the first 4 months of the year, but he's saying that this is Biden's fault. He's saying that all of this is Biden's fault. None of this is due to the tariffs. I'm gonna play you one more thing, and then we're gonna get into that, and then that's all I want to share with you.
But do you think, I want to ask you, if I may, do you think that
I find myself unironically doing the Tucker Carlson look during a lot of these interviews. He just says whatever he wants to be true. No, tourism is way up.
Bullshit.
Right. Thank you, Trump. See, you're correct. It's so irritating. We covered last night. We covered the live speech he delivered for his first 100 days, and it's just discombobulating how willing he is to just spew utter nonsense. I will say, I've mentioned this before. The power of positive thinking is great, but if you just take it to start lying, it no longer is great. And I imagine if you did this in your personal life. Oh, Luke, did you turn in that report that's due today? Yes, it's a great report, and I nailed it. But you only wrote one paragraph. It's supposed to be 3 pages. No, I know, but it's I wrote all 3 pages, and it's perfect, and you love it, and we all love it, and I got an A. Like, I guess it would maybe be good to say those things to yourself in the mirror before you write the report, but after it's due and you're just lying, I don't know if power positive thinking works there, Trump. I don't think it works there. Then on China.
Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're trying to say something's going to happen.
No. Okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business. I want to ask you.
I do know business.
Yes, so 145% tariffs on China, and that is basically an embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on everything from electronics to clothes.
They deserve it. That's good. They deserve it. So if they deserve it so much, why were you in the White House yesterday during your meeting with your buffoons that you have over your administration, saying, "Oh, I like China. I don't want China to suffer." Now, it's just insanity. It's just insanity. Let's continue.
Clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States. And they were making from us $1 trillion a year. They were ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad. If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
So we've explained his lack of understanding about even the words that he's trying to communicate there. But he keeps saying, this is a new thing that he's been saying, that China is going to eat the tariffs. That term eat would make sense if you're talking about you're encouraging U.S. companies.
They're going to murder people.
But they're not eating the tariff cost. That's U.S. companies. And he still hasn't gotten his head around that or doesn't choose to be honest on it. Then this.
Thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out. And we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys. But in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into...
Donald, I love the way he's talking to him. But bad guys. In our country, Donnie, even bad guys. You're doing great. I'm going to give you a sticker if you listen to the rest of this sentence, okay? Even real bad boys, real baddies, even they get due process, okay? Now let's talk about how a bill becomes a law.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelans.
They get whatever my lawyers say.
Right. All right.
He's just this is the reason why I'm spending so much time on this. Moments like that can kind of just fall off because they're not as hostile or whatever. But that's just him admitting, yeah, you're right. Due process, that's not really my thing. And that is how our system of laws collapses. And everyone's always fine with it when it's not them, and then it's too late when it is them. Trump also struggled to just say, yeah, I recommend people get vaccinated for measles, which is idiotic.
That's because people aren't getting their children vaccinated. Do you recommend to parents that they get their children vaccinated for measles?
Well, I recommend the governors to make the decisions. You have a very talented governor of Texas, and he's making decisions, and those decisions are going to be made rapidly.
You recommend the governor make decisions upon if people should be vaccinated when his state has the most increased case of measles? It's not the governor's job. Oh, God, he's an idiot.
Rapidly. This is a very much different thing than COVID in terms of rapidity and speed and other things. Measles have been with us a long time.
You're right. Measles has been with us for a long time. So has the measles shot. But COVID was not with us a long time. That vaccine that was created for COVID, it happened under your administration. Your administration was the administration that had hospitals not allowing nurses to go back to their job unless they had taken the shot. That had not been around a long time. But you now can't sit your stupid ass up here and say that these people who have been unvaccinated in the country that they have lived in because it's not required, and now it's breaking out in measles all in the United States and spreading it to other states. You cannot say that these people need to vaccinate themselves. You fucking idiot.
And I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that the governors are making the decision. It's a federalist decision.
The president is
so therefore you're going to be able to all of this is to have someone to blame it on, because he know that in Health and Human Services he has put a whole fucking non-vaccine idiot in over the Health and Human Services who promoted said that the best doctors during this measles outbreak was an anti-vaxxer and a man who was treating measles as he had a face full of measles, that because he had active measles as he's treating people for measles. So you just are not making a decisions, kind of like you said that you weren't withholding the that guy from coming back home. It was your attorneys.
Our leader in so many ways, and your voice counts so much. And you
again with the baby talk, I love it. Your voice matters so much, Donald. Okay, I see what he's doing, and I do actually appreciate Terry's handling this interview. But it's your voice matters so much. Do you know that? Do you know that you might be one of the most listened to people on the planet?
The president is our leader in so many ways, and your voice counts so much. And you can't tell moms and dads, it's a good thing to get a measles vaccine.
Do I recommend it? Yes, I do.
Okay.
I recommend it, yeah.
Got it. That
Do
was
I
my
mandate
question.
it?
No, I didn't.
But I do recommend it, yes.
Oh, there we go. Well, eventually he got there. That was nice.
You didn't do that until look what it took for him to do that. Okay, so let me share. I got maybe one or two. I think that's one. I'm going to try to get through it with this one. I think it's this one. Okay, let me share. I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Yes, I'm sharing it. So if you haven't, who is this? Pondering Politics. The link is in my description box. We're going to talk about how he's trying to deny that anything that is going on with the shrinking of the GDP is Biden's fault. This
news. Economists on all sides of the aisle have been predicting for months that Trump's economic policies will increase the probability of a recession. A devastating new report confirms that we are heading in that direction because first quarter GDP shrank. That is one of the major components of a recession, and it has been confirmed. And now Trump is publicly panicking both on Truth Social and on camera, and desperate to deflect blame. Oh, it's Joe Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden's economy, not mine. And nobody's believing it. He screwed us, and he knows it, and he's ultimately screwed himself politically if he doesn't reverse course. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure.
Church Mouse, you said, remind me, who is this YouTuber? You mean the one I just got done playing or the one I'm playing now? I'm waiting on Church Mouse. I'm waiting on Church Mouse. Okay. Okay. So here's the link. His name is Luke Beasley. Here's the link to his channel right there. It is also in my description box, just in case I had to edit this video and all of my chat is missing. Luke Beasley is in the description box as well. Okay. So let's get to the tantrums after he found out the GDP has gone down, and see him try to blame all of this on Biden, who handed him an economy that every country in the world, around the world, coming out of COVID, was the best economy in the world, because the world suffered the devastation of COVID. And the United States economy coming out of COVID was on top of every economy in the whole world. But he got handed a bad economy. Let's listen to the bullshit. Understand the facts before you listen to the bullshit.
Sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play, including some recent clips of Donald Trump at a cabinet meeting talking about this, desperate to change the narrative. But we're going to start with the news report itself about GDP.
Brand new numbers just out on the state of the economy, giving us our first major glimpse of the impact President Trump's sweeping agenda is having. And it's throwing things into reverse. A key report showing the economy shrank during the first 3 months of the year. The GDP declined at an annualized rate of 0.3%, the first drop in 3 years. A live look at the stock futures right now, and you see them reacting, all of them down less than 30 minutes from the opening bell on Wall Street. We'll likely hear more about this from the president when he convenes a cabinet meeting later this morning.
And we did, and it's predictable bullshit, as you might expect. Okay, but let's first go to Truth Social, right? Because this is when Trump first reacted to it ahead of the cabinet meeting. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Tariffs will soon start kicking in, and companies are starting to move into the USA in record numbers. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. This will take a while. Has nothing to do with tariffs, only that he left us with bad numbers. But when the boom begins, it will be like no other. Be patient. Be patient. Okay. And again, I'll just point out before we get to the Trump clip, as others are mocking Trump publicly about, Trump, of course, changes his tune whenever it's convenient. As Fact Post points, 2024, this is the Trump stock market when he's not president and Joe Biden was president. 2025, this is Biden's stock market, not Trump, when Trump is president, not Biden. Again, as they note on January 20th, 2024, 29th, 2024, this is the Trump stock market, because my polls are against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win, and that will drive the market up. Everything else is terrible with the Middle East and record-setting inflation.
You're hearing this, right? When he was not a president, he was taking credit for Biden's stock market because it was so good. Do you understand that he was taking credit as if he is the one who was the reason for the stock market numbers being so high? It was because of him when Biden was still in office. But now all of a sudden, Biden left him a horrible economy. The bullshit of it all. I want to make sure you guys understand what the dates are on this shit.
projecting that I will win, and that will drive the market up on January 20th, 2024. 29th, 2024. This is the Trump stock market, because my polls are against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win, and that will drive the market up. Everything else is terrible with the Middle East, and record-setting inflation has already taken its toll. Make America great again. So again, Trump takes credit for the stock market and the economy. When the stock market and the economy do well under a Democrat and he's out of power, he still takes credit for it. You have to credit him, he says. But when Trump is in power and the stock market and the economy are not doing well, and he's been in power for, damn near 4 months, right? It's somehow the Democrats' fault. It's Biden's fault. The hypocrisy is staggering. The asymmetry is staggering. The shamelessness is staggering. His cultists will lap it up, but the rest of us paying attention know better. He is desperate, panicking, and trying to deflect. And he actually led off with these panic deflections in his cabinet meeting. So we'll play these clips and unpack it together.
This issue, I put this issue as number one issue. And they don't want us to do what we're supposed to do. And I don't think that can be. I hope the Supreme Court is going to fully understand what's going on. We have to get the criminals out of our country. And that's the basis under which we won the election.
You hope the Supreme Court understands that we have to get these criminals out of our country, and that is what we were voted in to do. So first of all, we're going to have to take things one by one. You're going to have to prove that these are the worst of the worst, these criminals. You're going to have to prove that, first of all, while you just think that you can just cast. Now imagine, as Black people, just pay attention that he just saying whoever is picked up by his administration, he can just label them as the worst of the worst. You don't think that he has that in store for our Black asses? You don't think that he has that in store? He already you just heard him say that all of the worst crime is happening in Black neighborhoods, and all of the other crime that is happening all across the world can be ignored and pardoned by him, because he don't even recognize white crime as crime. Obviously. That's why I'm not jockeying for nobody but ourselves. I'm not jockeying because ain't nobody jockeying for ourselves, but we can't even jockey for ourselves. That's all I'm saying.
GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today, and I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is the quarterly numbers, and we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our.
Oh, were you really? Were you really? I said every quarter is the first 4 months is the first 3 months. But were you really against everything Biden was doing? Now, this is all Biden. I didn't come into office until January 20th. And how was the economy on January 20th? It was very well. And you notice the first thing he did?
Our country.
The first thing he did was sign an executive order about the economy when there was nothing wrong with the economy. Why did he do that? Because he would, if there was an emergency declaration about the economy, he would be able to put tariffs on countries without going through the Congress. That's the only reason why he was able to do it. And he declared that on day one. So on day one, he is so enamored with the power of being able to enact something independent of anybody but of his stupid thinking that he declared a economic emergency on day one, executive order. Oh, y'all thought he was just able to do that on his own volition? No, he's supposed to have Congress approve tariffs. And that's the only way he could get out of it. So let's continue.
In so many ways, not only at the border was more obvious, but we took over his mess in so many different ways.
GDP grew under President Biden. It just grew. It grew. Under Trump, his first quarter, it shrank, it contracted. So if this really is a holdover from Biden, why did GDP grow under Biden when Biden was in office all 4 years and GDP under Trump shrank? It doesn't make any sense, of course, because it can't make sense because Trump is lying. He's just objectively wrong on this and has no evidence to support him. He's just desperate. He's hoping that if he insists it loudly enough and persistently enough, that he will persuade you and I to blame Biden, but we won't. Here's another clip.
We took over on January 20th. These are quarterly reports. We took over on January 20th. The tariffs haven't kicked in yet. I know that, and I don't want this to happen, but I know that China is doing very poorly right now. I just saw some reports coming out, and I don't want that to happen to China. I like the president a lot, President Xi. I don't want it to happen. I was actually saddened to hear it, but
Trump was the one who started the tariff war with China. He was the one who imposed sweeping tariffs against China and then escalated them. Targeted tariffs against China are not a bad idea whatsoever. That has bipartisan support, but instead he unilaterally triggered an ever-escalating trade war. Now he is expressing sympathy and compassion and empathy for China. Well, what about the American economy that he is devastating single-handedly? Again, desperate to blame a man who's been out of office for 3 or 4 months. That's where we are. Axios is reporting U.S. economy shrinks at 0.3 percentage rate in first Trump-era GDP report. The U.S. economy contracted at an annualized rate of 0.3% rate in its first quarter as a rush to import goods ahead of Trump's tariffs weighed on economic growth, the Commerce Department said on Wednesday. It's the first contraction in 3 years, a sign that the economy was softening before the highest tariffs took effect. Yes, but looking past the headline figure, a key but narrow measure of growth kept pace, signaling at least some underlying momentum in the economy, at least once volatile measures like trade are stripped out. Real final sales to private domestic purchasers, the value of consumer spending, business and residential investment increased 3% last quarter, up a tick from the fourth quarter. The overall GDP decline, quote, primarily reflected an increase in imports and, quote, a decrease in government spending, the Commerce Department said in a release. The headline figure is a dramatic turnaround from the 2.4% growth rate in the final months of 2024. So again, a contraction compared to the robust GDP growth under President Biden. It is the weakest GDP print since the same period in 2022, when the economy contracted at a 1% annualized rate, similarly weighed down by volatile categories like trade and inventories. But the Biden administration was dealing, of course, with the backlash from COVID-related inflation due to supply shocks, right? President Biden didn't unilaterally trigger a trade war with the rest of the world. Trump is doing this. This is a completely self-inflicted wound. He inherited an economy that most economists refer to as the envy of the world. And he's just single-handedly ruining it because of a trade war that he started. I mean, again, it's not like he is reacting to totally uncontrollable and totally unmanageable external crises like COVID or post-COVID inflation. Trump is doing this to himself and ultimately to us. He's been an outspoken Trump supporter, and he's not buying this shit. He's not buying it. He said, what's that old expression? Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining. Well, that applies here. The stock market is a direct reflection of Trump's first 100 days in office. Doesn't mean it won't get better and that we don't need to be patient, but this is his market, not Biden's. So, he's rejecting this categorically. He's like, don't tell me this is Joe Biden's fault. This is your fault. And it is. Trump doesn't believe in that. And his supporters don't believe that, except for those who are more towards or not so far in the MAGA cult, the way Dave Portnoy is. And even there, he's trying to throw Trump a bone. Oh, it doesn't mean it won't get better. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't be patient. But this is his market, not Biden's. And I promise you, if the stock market flips tomorrow, Trump will be taking credit for it. Oh, it stopped being Biden. Something good happened, it's Biden. And then if something bad happens the next day, oh, well, actually, it's Biden's again. It's stupid. And
bottom line is stupid. That's the bottom line. He's incredible and not in a good way. Now let's talk about this budget. The Republicans met about this budget. I have to let you see the things that are in this budget and the things that they want to take out of this budget. This is my last thing I want to present to you guys. Oh, that's not the one. Let me go back. Is that the one? No, it's this one. Hold on. Let me see. Let me get the correct Let me get the correct one I want to share with you because I think that it's important that we see what they want to in this budget. Here we go. Okay, so let me enlarge this a little bit. This is from the Associated Press. Senate Republicans approve a budget framework pushing past Democratic objections after all-night vote. Okay, so oh, this is the old one. This isn't the one that I wanted where they met. I have the wrong one up. I'll bring it up tomorrow. This is the one back in February. I didn't want this one. I wanted the one from last night where they met last night. And all of the shit they want X amount of $1 million. Now you heard him say that the border wall is pretty much obsolete because there's no crossings at the border right now. But they still want to build 700 miles worth of border walls in this budget. They want to give over 300 and something billion dollars to the Department of Defense for some more shit to trains soldiers on the border wall. These soldiers who will be able to have their full capacity on the border wall inside of the United States. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, in this one in February, the Republican Senate package would allow up to $175 billion to be spent on border security, including money for mass deportations, because they say they're running out of money for the deportations. Sure you are. Of course you are. You were using military planes to deport 20 and 100 people at hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is anybody surprised? Okay, so this is on top of the greatest tax cut that they want to make permanent for the rich people. Okay, let me see. For mass deportation, 175 billion for border security, including money for mass deportation operation and building the U.S.-Mexico border wall, in addition to 150 billion boost to the Pentagon and about 20 billion for the Coast Guards. An additional 150 billion for the Pentagon. Now, the Pentagon is already working on. Now, they say that they wanted to get the Pentagon budget up to $1 trillion. The Pentagon budget is already 800 and something trillion dollars. So this additional 150 billion to the Pentagon budget will get them right at the skirts of that. And he has Nimwit Pete Hegseth over the Pentagon. Make that make sense. That makes sense for stealing a lot of money. The Pentagon has not completed a budget in the past 6 times that it has done a budget. They haven't had 60% of the information about where any of their money has gone in these the past budgets. They don't know where 60% of the money has gone. So that sounds like a good calculation of a way to make money go missing is throw it in the Pentagon and continue to increase their budget year after year after year, knowing that they have not been able to tell you where 60% of this money has gone. But Elon Musk never went there to look for waste, fraud, and abuse because he know that's where he gets his money from, the Pentagon. In contracts and government contracts. All right, I'll bring that for you tomorrow. I thought I had it. Let me make sure that I don't have it in my notes. I thought I put it in my notes. I apologize. I got my live together early yesterday. Let me make sure it's not in my notes. Because the shit that they just get by with and put on us, and nobody is paying attention. No wonder 60% of their budget is not. You can't find it. Let me see. No, I just added that budget. I don't know what is this. Musk is a ghetto queen. Let me see. I don't know what that is. Musk is a ghetto queen. They say that Musk is leaving. Oh, I gotta let you. I gotta. Do I want to? Do I want to show? Make sure you check out that link. Musk is a ghetto queen. A ghetto. A ghetto. A ghetto. He, as ghetto bitches call it, a ghetto queen. Okay, so I want you to. There may be some final good news. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Okay, so here I'm gonna play this, and this is my last video. I'm gonna bring that budget back. They met on the budget last night, and you would not believe the shit that they have in this budget. These Republicans, and that is the yeah. You're not gonna believe what's in this budget. Let me share this with you real quick. It's official. Musk is leaving. It's official. Musk is leaving as Trump thanks him amid crash for Tesla and markets. Here we go.
Plan to freeze government spending is on hold.
Nothing that is being done. Nothing. It's actually making life better for the American people.
Elon Musk has been a big part of the first 100 days across the 100 days, as you probably noticed. And now we have a special report on one of the most unprecedented parts of all this. The world's richest man reportedly now moving beyond daily government work. That's the plan. I'll explain that in a moment. But he did join the cabinet meeting today in a little bit of a different posture. If you think that body language matters, and in Hollywood and Washington, it certainly often does. Back in February, he was
before, after, sitting up here with two propaganda caps on.
Was big, very big, standing over, almost lording over the meeting, bravado. Today, while definitely a presence, he was seated. It seemed almost coordinated, as the president also made a point of praising Musk while hinting at his departure.
This whole room can say that very strongly. You've really been a tremendous help. You opened up a lot of eyes.
Do you see all the merchandising on this table? Do you see all the merchandising on this table? The whole motherfucking grip 24/7. Hey, let's put some product placing. You can find that on the website and go purchase these caps. Look at the new slogans we have on the caps. They're available for purchase as we take your jobs, your Social Security, your veteran benefits. As we make it impossible for you to get anything. But well, we got our caps early, our made in China caps early, because we knew we were probably going to fuck up the economy. So we have grows and grows of these hats that are also made in China. Let's continue.
As to what can be done, and we just want to thank you very much. And you're invited to stay as long as you want. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his car.
Check this out. I'm going to show you.
Now, be clear. If he says you're invited to stay as long as he wants, and then immediately follows up with he wants to get back home to his cars, and you're I was just saying something nice. I don't mean it.
can kind of see what's happening. A special acknowledgement, the applause, alluding to going, but not being pushed out. Stay as long as you want. There's actually more to that under law, which I'll explain in our report. But we have evidence that Musk is planning to get back to his day job or other business day job, so to speak. And we have evidence that is documented because there are still rules, even if you're pals with the president and a partial government employee. There are rules through the SEC and shareholder and regular updates about what the CEO is up to. Musk has told Tesla shareholders he'll spend less time on the federal government stuff and more time running the company. His personal fortune has crashed an astounding $114 billion in these 100 days. That is a ton even for someone as rich as Musk, over $1 billion.
But that's not a ton for Musk, being the fact that while he may have lost that amount of money, he's banking on his time in government to leave government with computers and computer loads of information about every person in the United States. How is that going to prop up his AI? His AI business, and what will he gain in money by having all of this information about all of our government entities, up and including the payment system of the Treasury? Did he really lose? Who really lost here? To be continued, I'd say.
The day lost, and it is related. Musk, of course, broke out his chainsaw, and he got some things done in Washington, trying to use what are basically quick fixes instead of the longer hard work of changing staffing plans for a multi-year budget with Congress. He went in and tried to pick off or fire the people that were easiest to do under the current rules. His fortune, of course, is based on many things, but a huge part is the only currently publicly traded company he has, Tesla. You can see the price dropping over a third. And there are a range of reasons, but even Tesla analysts and pro-market people who want Tesla to succeed have complained that partly it's that Musk has politicized himself, his brand, and his companies. The regular Americans have taken the protests against Musk government cuts and taken them out in the streets, in the fields, into Tesla shops, calls for boycotts. But it also goes beyond that company. Americans have been clear that the idea that a part-time employee of the federal government who also insists on running his other companies having this much power over our federal government and our staff and various programs, that people don't think that's a good idea and that they are aware of the obvious conflicts of interest.
My concern right now, and I think I speak for a lot of Americans, is Elon Musk.
Elon Musk and those have been authorized by the President of the United States.
Can we count on you to go back to Washington and demand immediate oversight into Joe's and Elon Musk?
These are real people looking at this real situation and with their response. And we've covered before how some things in government still work. We've seen the Supreme Court continue to do its job and enforce limits. We've seen some agencies enforce limits. We've also seen the Trump folks push and get away with a lot. But keep in mind, most members of the Trump administration and all of the cabinet, they are following the current rules. They don't think they would get away with breaking the law on that and still trying to order around federal government employees. If you insisted on running, say, the Treasury Department and Goldman Sachs and making money self-dealing, we have every reason to think a court would say no. And then all the employees at that agency would say, I'm not following your orders because the court just said you're not in charge. There are things that still work, is my point. Musk has found a temporary loophole where he doesn't have the same level of divestment, oversight, or transparency because he's a part-time employee, what's called a special government employee. It's that loophole. So you don't actually have to go as far with the ethics requirements and financial disclosures, let alone divesting your whole company, because the idea, as flexibility was, sometimes the government might need a certain expertise from someone who's not going to easily step away from their whole job forever. But there's a limit. 130 days of government work a year. Under law, that's the limit. And there's evidence he's spent, and this is debatable, but Fortune says about 90 days so far doing it. And he says he wants to keep working a day or two a week. He could stretch this out and kind of keep in a relationship with the president. But the larger point is, however it seems sort of random, and now they're having the meeting, and hey, thanks a lot, they're heading towards a 130-day break. And maybe they don't like admitting at the Trump White House that they're following the rules all the time. So they're not citing that reason. But it is interesting to see they're approaching that limit. And remember, Musk could keep working after that limit if he just wanted to follow rules like everyone else, do some disclosures, join the cabinet. Only he can say, and only he might really know why he's so afraid or unwilling to do that if this public interest job was so important. Meanwhile, the Republican speaker is blocking basic efforts that the Democrats have pushed to deal more directly with this new situation of this sweeping government employee having so many conflicts.
We have seen as Elon Musk is on his exit out of the federal government, he has secured billions of dollars in new contracts across the federal government. Conflict of interest? Yes, absolutely.
That's the Democrats using their bully pulpit to flag this. They don't have enough votes to force the floor to take it up in the House. So we're reporting on how democracy works. Republicans had a real but slim House majority, and the Dems would need to convince some Republicans to join them to get that floor action I mentioned. But this is still a big problem. I've told you, there's sometimes in politics where we just get a denial that, no, it's no problem. Musk and Trump understood it was a problem, so they didn't deny that conflicts were an issue. Instead, remember, they initially made a big show of claiming there would be no business conflicts, no requests for help. It was a vow that they then very publicly broke.
So I thought this girl was working out like crazy, but she wasn't.
So how will you handle it?
Well,
he won't be involved.
Yeah, I'll recuse myself if it is.
If there's a conflict, he won't be involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want. That, and he won't want it.
I love Tesla. You got to give him credit.
We want the future to look like the future, and it's kind of what kind of truck would Blade Runner drive?
The one I like is that one. And I want that same color.
The fact check for both of them, false. Musk did not recuse from the Tesla event on the White House lawn. Maybe the stock price pressure made him rethink the limits that he claimed so loudly on Fox News and television and elsewhere, but they're literally hawking the company's product. If you saw it in a movie, you'd say that's a bit blatant. Would they really do it like a showroom? That is how Musk has been running roughshod over not only the spirit of the rules, but his own claims for himself. His companies also have contracts with many different federal agencies. And as I've told you before, some of his companies have done remarkable things. They produce value. They were under contracts before he had this relationship with the current administration. So we want factually to report on this and make sure that you're not getting ripped off. But we're not suggesting that he's never done anything of independent value. The problem is now he wants it both ways. And then also trying to slash the government and fire all these federal workers while doing business with the federal government. The savings that he said he would produce, the claims about them have also gone down.
I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
I think we'll try for $2 trillion. I think that's like the best case outcome. But I do think that you kind of have to have some overage. I think if we try for $2 trillion, we've got a good shot at getting one. We can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion.
Those were Musk's claims. Now, let's look at an independent audit. That's what most companies rely on, especially when they're looking outside at a merger or buying something. The New York Times reports Musk's approach to government cost taxpayers over $130 billion. In other words, the bulk of what Musk has done has wiped out the claimed savings, even if you quote his current agency. And you take that together, and the numbers aren't really adding up. Not for the claimed savings for the federal government, definitely not for Mr. Musk's loss of over $100 billion. What did we just live through?
Lived through is a data breach of all of our personal information from an oligarch who has business in which all of this data will be important. Let me share my screen. One last thing. I wanted to. What the hell was this? I just stumbled upon this. What the hell is this? Stephen A. Smith. Oh, motherfucking raccoon. Who think that he's the greatest politician all of a sudden now. Let's see what this raccoon is talking to 45, 47 about.
Because when people think about Harvard, what they're basically talking about is they're asking, what do you say to those who view your actions as an attack on academic freedom rather than a defense of fairness? What do you say to that?
Well, I say this: we had riots in Harlem, in Harlem, and frankly, if you look at what's gone on, and people from Harlem went up and they protested, Stephen, and they protested.
He didn't ask him about Harlem. He asked him about Harvard.
Very strongly against Harvard. They happen to be on my side. You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black. You know, I got a very high black, and they protested, Stephen, and they protested very strongly against Harvard.
So you mean to tell me that this motherfucker is sitting up here trying to tell you, and knowing this is on a broadcast, that people in Harlem protested against Harvard? That's what he said. Excuse me. And he has a strong black vote. But the last time I checked, Harlem has been gentrified to the gills. So what does one have to do with the other? Let's continue. The black vote in Harlem and the lie that people in Harlem protested against Harvard. When did that happen? When did any of this happen? Let's continue. Let's finish. I haven't even watched the whole thing, and I can't get over this bullshit in the beginning.
Happened to be on my side. You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black vote. It was a very great compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. I did.
What did Stephen A. Smith say? Did he say you welcome? Stephen, I thought you said that you voted for Kamala.
I did opportunity zones for one of the greatest economic criminal justice reform. I did compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. Very great compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. I did opportunity zones for one of the greatest economic deals ever for the Black and Hispanic community. I got tremendous. They agree with what I'm doing with respect to Harvard. Harvard gets $4 or $5 billion a year from the United States government in the form of grants. And they have $53 billion, and yet they don't treat the people right. They take foreign students, nobody knows where they come from, and they viciously hate our country. And I'm saying,
how does no one know where these foreign students come from when they're on visas? So why do we even take this man seriously?
if we're going to give grant money, we want people in that school that are going to love our country, not people that are going to hate our country. They run a bad operation up there, and we have to get to the bottom of it. On top of that, they said they want to teach their students remedial mathematics. That's basic math. 2 and 2 is 4. And you say, well, Harvard's supposed to be so great. Why do people have to have remedial? That's basic, very simple mathematics. So we're looking into Harvard, but we give them billions of dollars a year, and that may very well stop. And that's
well, they're not teaching remedial math, and remedial is not normal math. Remedial is on the slow boat of math. So they're not teaching it in public schools. They're not even teaching cursive writing in public schools. But you decided to shut down the Department of Education, and you're complaining at the same time that they're allegedly teaching remedial mathematics in the colleges because they can't learn it in public schools. But you see no good in the public school system. Instead of improving it, you're going to dismantle it.
It's up to the president. It's up to our government. We don't have to grant them money. We can grant that money to people.
Now, all of a sudden, it's up to the president. But you can't say anything about if if children should get vaccinated. Okay, I got you. You can't say beyond your attorneys if you're going to honor a Supreme Court ruling as the president. It's up to your attorneys. Oh, I get it. I get it.
That really need it, and frankly, people that you'd rather have me give the money to, Stephen.
Mr.
I don't know what that was.
Don't talk about what your trash ass mammy about looking like with her suck in.
Oops, I didn't want to play that. Let's get This is a good time to stop because I did see that Deanna Irving has gone live and her title is So You Want to Drag Little Miss Coquina? And that came up afterwards. Deanna, I was not trying to play your stuff. Let's go over there and see what Deanna Irving is talking about. Z Sarah, I thank you for hanging in here to the end. He's just sitting there mute, listening to this crap. Anti-intellectual MFs. Yes. So let me drop this link for Deanna Irving. If you guys want to go over there, she is reading truly, and I don't know what happened. Obviously, Slowness decided to take a whack at Deanna, and she's not having that this morning. So I'm gonna drop her link. Oh yeah, she going. I'm gonna drop the link to this live. I'll go over there and check out Deanna Irving. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm not sure if I will be coming live tomorrow. If I do, I will have my live set up tonight. Hey, M. Renee, I didn't even know you were here. There's the link to Deanna Irving's page. I'll see you guys over there. Have a great day. God bless you. Thank you for supporting my channel, and have a good night. Bye-bye.
In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q.